Hey, Dylan, I'm curious, you obviously experienced one of these games on the sideline in 2019, but haven't played in one. What's kind of your sense of the Oregon game and that rivalry?
I mean, like I said, I was on the sideline for that game 2 years ago, but being a Husky fan growing up, I've understood like what the rivalry holds. So I'm definitely excited for this game, and the whole team is. We're going to get into the history of the rivalry, and the energy is just a little different at practice. So seeing one on the sidelines and then now getting ready to play in one, I'm definitely excited.
You were offered by Oregon, weren't you?
Yeah.
Did you consider them heavily, or what were they like in the recruiting process?
I went on a visit for everyone I had an offer from, but I committed here so early because nothing beats here.
Dylan, we've seen you kind of mount some comebacks in your time here. What is it about the way that you play when the game gets down late? What do you think clicks for you?
It's just being resilient. It's for our whole team. Everyone on the team doesn't blink if we're down. Whether we're up, whether we're down, we're pretty even-keeled, and we're resilient if stuff isn't going our way, and we're just going to keep fighting back. Coach Lake's really referring to like boxing matches, a Stanford game, heavyweight match, and then this game coming up is going to be a title fight. So it's just really referring to like kind of boxing type mentality. Might lose some rounds, but a fight might go the distance, go 12 rounds.
You've thrown touchdown passes to win games 3 times now out of 12 in the last 5 minutes. Do you have this ultimate confidence that you just can pull this thing out at the end?
Yeah, definitely. It's until the clock hits zeros, I feel like we're never going to be out of it. Like I said, we're just super resilient. We're always going to keep fighting until the zeros are on the clocks.
Oregon's defense has forced a lot of turnovers and a lot of interceptions specifically. What do they do well defensively that makes offenses kind of uncomfortable?
Yeah, they got really good athletes, really fast up front. Obviously, they got a really good pass rusher. They got that freshman linebacker, too. He gets in the backfield pretty easily. I think just the speed up front, they can force turnovers, force a throw when the quarterback might not be ready. So it's just, I think that's what really stands out from their defense so far watching film.
It's kind of the healthiest you've had your weapons this year to throw to. How much easier does that make life for you? And just like the evolution of the past month of kind of having those guys back on the field in practice.
Yeah, it's definitely easier when I can look and any spot on the field we got a route I can look and I'm gonna trust the guy's gonna win. It definitely makes life easier. Those dudes win in some pretty tough spots. They got some tight man-to-man coverage, and like Jalen versus Stanford, tight man and coverage on one on the slant, caught it in traffic and got a couple of yards after that. So it's definitely nice for me being able to drop back and just hit my back foot and trust they're going to win versus a tough look, and I just got to give them a good ball.
You mentioned Roman, Jalen. You've kind of grown with those guys too. What kind of playmakers are they?
You see it. They're big. They're big dudes, fast, lengthy. They'll go and catch the ball. They can both blow past anybody. They're gonna catch the ball in traffic. They got bigger frames, and they just bring a ton of juice too to the little offense and the sideline. I don't know if you guys see it, but run blocking. They get in there, and it's pretty cool to see that from receivers. They have more pride than that, or just as much as pride as catching a touchdown.
You've gone a couple weeks where you haven't thrown a pick or turned the ball over, and I'm wondering, do you feel like that's more of a personal progression, or is it something schematic, or just what do you attribute that to, I guess?
We obviously it's a personal progression too, but we really focus on that as a team and as an offense, trying to be in the plus on the turnover margin. And that starts with me not turning the ball over, putting us in bad situations and putting the ball in harm's way. So definitely I put more emphasis on it throughout the last few weeks, and I'm going to continue to do so. And I think as the whole team, like I said, the offense, we're all trying to think about that. Ball carriers, anybody that's touching the ball, receivers, we're all having emphasis on it, and so it's going to keep progressing in that way.
Your conversations with John Donovan, I'm sure you've talked with him all the time, but recently, have those conversations kind of changed at all since you've kind of got to know him for a longer amount of time? Like the past month, have they been different than the beginning of the season?
No, if any way different, it's just because, we're around each other all the time, we get a little more comfortable building a deeper relationship. I'm up there all the time working through the game plan and watching some film. So in that regard, it's just, getting a deeper relationship, just kind of understanding I kind of understand now what plays he wants to call, and so I can kind of already feel what call is going to come from the sideline before it gets to me.
You actually feel that like more frequently now than maybe at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I can definitely, like in certain situations, I have an idea of what might be coming, so it helps me kind of prepare for a certain call.
Dylan, you called K-Dot more reliable at the
Yeah.
beginning of the season. I think he had 18 catches last year, and your leading wide receiver had 9. He hasn't gotten as many targets this year. I just wonder what you make out of that and what you see when you're, trying to check him.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that is defenses are trying to take him away because they see on film how much of a threat he is. You got to. I feel like as a defense, you got to really know where he's going to be at, and you got to have tight coverage on him. And still, when stuff's going downhill for me, and I'm trying to find a easy completion, I'm still looking for him. You see, like the Arizona game, this last game too, he had some catches over the middle that were tough in traffic. I'm just looking for him for easy completion. But I definitely think defenses are working to take him away and knowing where 87's lined up.
Dylan, one of the weird downside traditions to this program is it tends to be really hard on the quarterback, meaning the fan base. And like Warren Moon was a Hall of Famer in the NFL, yet he got booed here at one point when he was a young quarterback, but he almost went home and had to be talked out of it. You guys lost a few games, and of course you're going to carry the brunt of that because you're the quarterback. Are you totally isolated from that, or did you hear any of it, feel any of it, or did you completely be shielded?
I mean, on the field, I definitely hear it, but I understand that's the nature of my position. There's a lot of criticism, and when good things happen, a lot of praise. And that's just kind of the nature of the position, and I understand that. On the field, like I said, definitely hear it, but I isolate myself from it because, I know I can control what I can control. And the people in the building here, we know what's going on and stuff like that. And I know it's tough sometimes for fans seeing stuff from the outside in, understanding like the ins and outs of the play or a decision I make, obviously. And so, yeah, I try to isolate myself from that off social media through the season, just trying to really focus on the week to week and the game we're playing and just really diving into the film and trying to win the game.
As odd as the season has played out, you're a game out of first place behind Oregon, first weekend in November. Does this have kind of a title fight sort of feel going into it? Yeah,
definitely. That's like I was saying, like Coach Lake was, we've been referencing boxing. It's usually us, Stanford, and Oregon in the top of the North. And like I said, last week was a heavyweight bout. It's going to be back and forth, tough fighting. And then same thing this week. It's going to be a tough 12-round fight. It's going to go to the distance, and we're going to have to fight to the end. That's usually how these games go. And, yeah, I mean, we said at the beginning of the year when stuff wasn't going our way, everything's in front of us. It's not like we were losing games late. Unfortunately, it happened early, but everything was in front of us, and we just really had to dive in and get, detailed on things we can control because we knew if we can do that, everything's in front of us, and all the goals we have at the beginning of the season are still attainable.
Mike mentioned earlier, but Oregon's an aggressive defense. I mean, is that something that you take into account with your game plan, or are you just going to, all your confidence, you're not going to really change the way you play?
I mean, definitely. It goes week to week with the defense you're playing. But for myself, it's still just control what I can control and understand the play we're running and get the ball out and find a completion and protect it. That's what I got to do each week.
When you were a kid coming to the games, did you fully understand the bitter rivalry between Washington and Oregon? Because, 25 years ago or 30 years ago, one team beat one of them 66-0, and then the next year the other team came back and beat them 54-0. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you'll ever find a flip like that anywhere else in the country in 12 months. But did you understand, that side of it? I
mean, maybe when I was little, not fully. I would say when I got to like middle school, high school, was getting recruited. And obviously when I got here, really started understanding the rivalry between us and Oregon. And that's just the great thing about college football, like you said, just the turnaround back and forth every year. That's what makes this game fun. So everyone's excited in the locker room and just really, diving into our game plan and just getting ready to go.
What was the locker room like for you guys on Saturday night?
No, it was wild. When you have a win like that, it's a really great feeling. Like I said, it's up and down roller coaster the whole game. For us to stay just locked in mentally and just fight until the clock ran out, and then we come up on top. There's no greater feeling, and locker room gets pretty rowdy.
That final play call, you guys have been running the ball so much, and then you step up with a pass. when you called that play, did you know if you saw coverage that this is gonna be a touchdown if I throw it where it needs to go?
Yeah, so in that situation with the not a lot of time on the clock when we're throwing it like that, it's either a touchdown or out of bounds. So I knew when I heard the play call, I knew Jalen was going to win his one-on-one. That's one of his better routes, being one-on-one in man coverage, and all I had to do was hold the safety and give him a good ball. So definitely when I heard the play call, I was excited because I knew if I can give him a good ball, it's going to be 6.
Purple out, thoughts?
Let's go. I mean, anytime you get the coordination with the crowd and everything like that, it's going to be bumping. Just really excited to see that atmosphere. 2 years ago, like in that game, I mean, the place was rocking, so it's going to be excited to see.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.